Okay. It has been a week, you guys. Oh, it's been a week. It's been a minute. um, yeah, it's been very hectic and crazy, and it's been a week, and it's the start of a new week, and that's what we're focusing on is the start of the new week. So, yeah, that's really what we're going with. We're focusing on it's a new week starting today. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Joanne. So we are hopeful. Hi, Allison. We are hopeful this week. I don't want to say this out loud, but I'm going to knock on wood. I'm going to say it. It would be hard pressed for this week to be worse than last week. So, just go ahead and knock on the desk. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful my big presentation is over. Shouldn't have been mine in the first place, but we'll move on from that and my bitterness about it. It's over, so that's happy. I don't think you can top last week. So I feel like, I've had the three, I got a cold. And yeah, got into it's over. We've started a new week. That's really where we're going to go. And we're going to talk about the book because that's happy. So hi, Kimbers. Happy Sunday, Erin. Hi, Erica. Hi, Marnie. Yeah, it's got to be a better week. It's got to be a better week. I went out today and I hit all of the green lights. So I'm taking that as a sign that the tide has turned and it's finally my turn for a good week. So that's what we're going with. Hi, Betsy. Happy Sunday. So, yeah, that I'm taking that as a sign, whether it was one or not. I am taking hitting all the green lights as a sign that it's gonna be a better week. The chapters are stuff waiting for, and we'll waiting for them till you were happy with them. I'm glad that you guys were happy waiting. If I had posted them, I don't feel like if I hadn't taken my time, I don't think they would have been where I wanted them to be. So I know people get impatient. I know people start to worry, not so much our Facebook group as the commenters on Dream. And I've also followed a couple authors who, have felt pressure to just get stuff out there. And, if then the story is not what they want. And I'm just not going to do that. I know this group will appreciate that. But here's kind of where I come down on that. Then if you do that and you succumb to the pressures of people, just wanting to get out there and you're writing just to, focus on a schedule, then it's not fun. That's becoming more like your job where you feel like this pressure and this deadline. And I'm not going to do that with this because this is truly my escape. It kind of was highlighted last week because this is, it was horrible work-wise, and escaping into this story, kept me from losing my mind a little bit. So, yeah, I'm not going to rush the story since I'm not going to rush any of my stories. That's kind of just, I kind of get stubborn that way in my own head. When people are like, you have to do this. It's like, no, I really don't. Now that you've told me that I have to, I'm really not going to. It's kind of my personality. But yeah, I'm just, the story, we're coming into the holidays. So this story will be still ongoing by that time. So, we're going to have some more delays, but this story is going to get told and there are more stories to come. And yeah, I'm not going to put a chapter out there that like I'm not super excited about, where I'm like, oh, they're going to do this little thing and this little thing. So, yeah, I'm not going to rush the story. Melanie and Alexander deserve to have their story be told the way that I want it, in the way that's, in a way fair to the readers. Because if I just rush it and just to get a chapter out for the sake of a chapter, I don't really think that's fair to anybody, myself, the characters, or you guys. So the last date confirmed a lot. Did it? Did it? We'll see. Hi, Andrea. That is from yesterday. I was like, I don't understand this comment. It's because it's on one of the things. Yes, it will be manifesting it. See, Betsy gets it. Betsy's with it. Hi, Slukia. Okay. So question, one of a few. Hit me with them all. I'm ready. Are the wedding rings around Melanie's neck the reason Alexander can't pop to her? And can he pop to Sierra? He can pop to Sierra. We will find out why he can't pop to Melanie. I will say it's not a bad guess. Obviously, we know that the rings around her neck are not Sam and Drake's rings. And I've seen some people wondering why she thinks that she has them when the pack has been so mean to her. And there is a reason, guys. There is a reason. So we'll find that out. We'll find out why she thinks that they're, well, once she's seen them. She's seen them many times. She knows what her parents' rings look like. But there's a reason that she has them and that she thinks that they're Drake and Sam's. One, because they look identical to them. That's one reason. So here for every magical word of the story, no matter how long it takes. Thank you, Erin. I appreciate that. In book 2, there are a few big fights where Sam and Drake are missing from them. Was this a coincidence, or were they being protected as Sam and Drake were going to be Melanie's parents in the future, and the goddess didn't want anything to happen to them? Hi, Stephanie. You did make it to alive. It's so there were a couple fights that they weren't around for. It was mostly just coincidence. Drake and Sam are pretty strong, and they can take on other people. A lot of it is just a coincidence. When they were in book 2, it's a coincidence in book 2, obviously. Past that, we've gotten past some coincidences, and now it's just weird, and people should recognize that. Did Alexander share his light twice? Okay, if you don't answer, we can read it soon, I'm sure. We will find out. We will find out what's going on with that. We know he's done it once, but we will find out the answer to that. And Stephanie, we are glad you've made it to alive. Welcome. Feel free to ask questions. But yeah, I mean, obviously, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people wondering about Claire's motives and whether she's part of like a bigger conspiracy. She's not part of a bigger conspiracy. She's kind of a pawn. She's a pawn, but she's not a good person. So I don't really know if that's the right term for her. She's not exactly. She's not involved in some bigger plot. She's just a useful tool for other people that are. Obviously, she has some things she shouldn't have, but her obsession with Alexander is known, and there are some people, obviously, who would very much like him to like her and be distracted by her, so they're trying to help her. Does she care why they're helping her? Absolutely not. Does she know why they're helping her? No. She's kind of like, well, not all there, guys. Levon loves Dylan. We all love Dylan. And we're going to get a heavy dose of Dylan on Alexander's next side, because obviously he has things to say, guys. Obviously, he has lots of things to say. There's hitting, there's demanding space unheard, there's popcorn. Dylan's side of things are always funny. So I've missed having Dylan in our scenes, but yeah, that was one of the, Dylan's actually one of the he's kind of the needed, him and Phil are needed comic relief in this book. But particularly in very big scenes coming up, Dylan and his comedy are needed, and he's got several hilarious lines coming up. So can't wait for Haley's C name for Claire. Okay. At this point, Haley has no idea any of this has happened. So when she finds out, she's not overly happy. Yeah. I need to know what Alexander did to her after the fight with Claire and Melanie, waiting impatiently for the next update. Yeah, well, yeah. We'll find out what he did. And yeah, we'll find out what he did and kind of why he did it. So there, yeah, we'll find out. I can't answer that. It's so hard. I want to answer you. I do. But we'll find out what he does and the reason for what he does. And I will say that segues into Haley finding out about the whole thing and losing her mind a little bit. So it's funny. But yeah, I'm really excited to get to the part where we talk about Dylan's reaction to it all, because obviously Alexander is going to be somewhat focused on the fight and Melanie herself. But Dylan, he refuses to not be heard. So Alexander doesn't fully pay attention to him, but Dylan forces him to at specific points. So if Alexander were to mark Mel, would it help Freya get her strength back sooner? That is actually going to be answered. We will find out. Obviously, Corbin and the Bishop siblings have been looking into this. So the Bishop siblings might have some answers, but Corbin himself has some theories, and we're going to hear about them. So the scars, would the first ones that won't heal happen before she didn't shift to 16? Was she then still removed before Freya was locked away? She has been, neither of those things have affected her entire life. She didn't necessarily know that for a while, but it never affected her. Her scars, she herself has tried, with those things she gave Kanan to kind of seal her being their source. It's like a sticker. It blends into their skin and it hides their marks. So she has tried to do things like that to hide her own scars, and it's the first ones she got when she was 16 are the ones that won't go away, and we will find out what that is. We obviously have a guess, but the way that we find out about them is actually, it's very I don't know that I've had a reveal like this, but how that all comes out. It's interesting to me. I hope it's interesting to you guys. But Haley and Alexander could heal that. She doesn't know that they could heal her scars. They just have to know about them, because as healers, they sense what's physically wrong, and the scar is obviously not something that's physically wrong, so their healing light wouldn't sense that. Now, if they could see it, they would know. But obviously haven't seen it. So at this point, they don't know that, but they can heal that. And she doesn't know that at this point. But we will see how all that comes about. I can't wait. But the need to know is really big. I feel the same way. I'm kind of glad that these are my outlines in my books, because I know things, because this would drive me insane. I don't know how you guys do it. It's a dumb thing. If Alexander, oh yeah, okay, I read that one. Okay, I read that one. Okay. I wondered if it is a word like abomination, like Haley has written on her skull, how bad it is, and what was used that was so bad. We're going to find out what was used that it's so bad. It's not just about what was used, it's about the period of time. So it wasn't just something as Melanie said in the last chapter, those nights that turned into, it was a night that turned into days and days that turned into weeks. So we will see what happened with that. And Melanie's going to allude to it, but we will, and she has already alluded to it. But it's somewhat about the repetition of it and the period of time that it happened. But it wasn't just, regular. Obviously she was whipped, but it wasn't just a regular whip. So because as we heard on Melanie's side, Trevor is claiming she is his second chance mate. So he saw his first mate die, and he is claiming, from what Melanie knows, he's claiming that his actions towards Melanie and what happened and transpired between them is the direct result of him watching his first mate die. So, I mean, yeah, obviously he's not a great person. He's a bad liar. These outtakes are great. Getting even more outtake ideas. I need one for Eric and Buttercup now. Oh, I think that's actually a comment on the outtake and not a comment on the live, but yeah. Yeah, that was a fun one. Someone requested, Dylan being at the functions because of Buttercup and Wesley. So that was a fun one. And obviously, I feel, so from like the moment Eric realized that one of his children was mated to one of Dylan's, he had started to formulate a plan because obviously any child of Dylan, he didn't want like the little girl being like, oh, I'm showing respect by calling you that. So, he kind of got out in front of it and was like, you're going to marry my son, you call me Eric. So yeah, he just kind of mitigated all that because he knows Dylan. He's known him his entire life. So he kind of knew there was a plan. But typical Erica out of it all. Yeah, that is something that's actually going to be really hard for him with this whole situation. So, because obviously he was compelled, and then there are other factors to it. But for someone who prides themselves on being in the know, and he tried. So it's not his fault. But that's going to be hard for him to cope with. Hello, hope you're feeling better. Hi, Levon. I am feeling better. I'm feeling much better. So, yeah. Now I just have a giant bruise on my arm and a little bit of stuffiness left, but I feel much better. Today was the first day where I wasn't like, I need to nap or I'm going to die. So that was exciting. But yeah, I mean the what happened and what is happening in Nashville is going to be a hard pill for the Allies to swallow, because it's not just Nashville, obviously. There's only so much they can do, but we know all these alphas at this point, and we know they feel a sense of responsibility to people, not just their pack, but other people. So this one's going to be particularly rough for them. And it's going to be rough for Alpha Theo, because Alpha Theo has seen where Melanie lives. They're obviously, the pack in Nashville is working with witches, and they knew he was coming. So they were, unbeknownst to Alpha Theo, spelled at the border. So they didn't see like the tatteredness that the pack is really in. And the house that Melanie stays in isn't, because she makes sure that they're okay. But obviously they didn't know Spencer was there. That's kind of the point, is they don't know Spencer is there. So he was able to get in touch with one of his cousins, and then they didn't have any magic on them, and they saw the true state of the pack. So that's going to be hard for Alpha Theo and Lux. But, it's going to be a tough pill for all of them to swallow. And it's going to be hard for all of them because they're like, do we trust anything ever? Like, we can't trust our eyes. We can't trust what people tell us. If we don't see somebody physically in front of us, we just don't believe things anymore. So they're all kind of going to be reeling from how to deal with this. Obviously, the bad blood for everybody is going to be between Redrun and Melanie, which is hard for everyone in Redrun because she was a beloved member of their pack, still is technically a member of their pack because she was never actually banished. She believes that she has joined Blackpath, but she can't join Blackpath because she was never banished from Redrun. So they all, the leaders know that, but she does not. So, and neither do her friends. Her friends don't know that's true either because as far as everybody knows, she was banished from Redrun. So, but yeah, I'm dropping things. It's going to be hard for them. It's hard for Elise. It's hard for her brothers. It's hard for her dad. Because obviously, and it's not easy for Chelsea because Melanie's mad at her too. So, and she loves Jason. They're siblings. And to her, it has never mattered whether that is half or full. And it's never mattered to him. She just doesn't know that. So it's a hard situation for all of them because, she wants Jason's acceptance. But it doesn't just erase 7 years because, oh, well, the handwriting that was yours wasn't really yours. And it's a whole thing, guys. Because for her, it's like, okay, you were compelled. And so, part of an argument she makes at one point with Eric is, okay, so if Cassie or Angela, if you didn't see them, she's like, I'd give you 3 days. She's like, I'd give you 3 days of not seeing either of your daughters before you threw a fit and went to find them. And he has no argument for that because she's right. He would. She's like, they didn't see me for 7 years, and that's just fine with everybody. And he's like, it's not fine with everybody, though. But she just keeps coming back to, you wouldn't accept that. And she's right, he wouldn't. And Haley absolutely wouldn't. But Haley can't be compelled in the way that other people can. So it's just a complicated situation. There are a lot of feelings. So many feelings, you guys. So many feelings. Okay. Is the pack that Phil's friend lives in Silver thing? What? Is the pack that Phil's friend lives in Silver Dome thing from Emmeline's book that Alpha Hammond was captured from and killed the Alpha, and is that Blair's new pack? I'm not sure I understand that question. His friend is in a pack in Nashville. It's one that, they're not a bad pack. They're just kind of in a bad town, and that's why it's a big deal that they're friends. His name is Walker. But no, it's not a pack that we've heard of before. Ooh, can the Black Path Alpha not Alpha command Melanie? No, he can't. He cannot. For multiple reasons. She joined the pack more like she was told she was in the pack. She didn't swear allegiance to him at all. She hates him. So, no, he can't. So how does Mel mind link Black Path members? She's mind linking Alexander right now. She just doesn't know she is. And again, they all think it's because she's a member. That's obviously not what's going on, but they think that's why she can do it. And it's never been a question of whether or not she could do it because she's in the pack. So it's not something they question at all. Hi, slightly off current book topic, but I've been wondering if we will see Dylan's parents' wolves in the future. I remember them wanting to come back into the pack with better humans. I don't know if we will see them, but they are back. Silver something. Sorry, I would cry. No, it's just a new pack we haven't seen. How can she mind link her friends in Black Path? I mean, she's mind linking Alexander right now, so she just doesn't know she is. With her friends. Hi, Amanda. I see you. But we'll get answers to all that. We'll get answers to all that and how she's doing it. Like I said, it's not something they're questioning because all of them think she's part of the pack. But I mean, she's already doing it with Alexander without realizing that she's doing it. And since he knows that she can, we saw in the last chapter, she's like, I don't know how he's doing that and talking at the same time. He's not. He's figured out that if she can mind link him, he can mind link her. So, but we saw that a few times in the last chapter. She was like, he said that. And part of it was curiosity on his part. He wondered if he could. And now he knows he can. Amanda, I have questions. I'm here for your questions for about 20 more minutes, guys. And then I have to do my favorite activity. I have to go mow the lawn. Whoopee. I've got to get a lawn service, guys. I've got to do it. I hate mowing. I hate it so much. Did Dylan's parents get killed because of Melanie? Did they think something happened to her? They died a long time ago at this point. It had nothing to do with Melanie. It had to do with Buttercup. They were trying to plan a way to suppress. They had two granddaughters at the time, Buttercup and Travis and Jackie's little girl. They wanted to suppress their wolves, and they were meeting with a witch to figure out how to do it when they were attacked by a rogue. It had nothing to do with Melanie. So they got killed because they're dumb. In Raised to Kira, they call Azir the war god. Athena is the hood war goddess. Is Azir and is Azir in play in? Do you mean as Ares and the Hakira hood deities are siblings? They're not siblings. I don't really have Azir based on Ares either. Did we get an extra outtake, or did we get an extra this morning? An extra what? I don't know what that means. Did we get an extra this morning? I didn't post anything this morning. I posted it this afternoon, my time. I'm not sure what that means. Feel free to continue the question. Emmeline's fairy boyfriend in Raised to Kira Discern. Will we see him in the OG reality? I don't plan to bring him into the original reality, but he could show up at some point just because, there are only so many fairy names one can make up off the top of their head, so he could show up. I never say no. I don't plan for him to at this point, but he could. But, is everyone starting to see all the tiny threads come together? Well, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It was really hard just seeing all the hate for Drake and Sam without people knowing what was really going on with them. Because they're horrible parents. It's they're really not. They're really not horrible parents, guys. Who are the alpha of Thunder Ridge Pack and Green Crescent? They are not important. So. But yeah, everybody was so upset with Drake and Sam. They're like, they were cool in Emily's book. It's like, they're still cool. They're just, there's magic and vampires and madness afoot. If Alexander used his pushing power on Claire, would he see who she got the charm from that made the bubble? He could. Sometimes they see things, sometimes they hear things. We'll see what he does on his side. When Lucas and Emmy went to Nashville, did Haley call ahead for pack permission, or is the center of town not under pack control? Haley did not know Eric. Eric let them know he was coming. The center of Nashville is in a pack that they're not allies, but they're not enemies. So Haley didn't do that, but Eric did, because Lucas was going. It wouldn't be a problem for Emmeline to be there. But since Lucas was going, Eric did call ahead. It's kind of the balance of Haley and Eric. He's kind of like the logical, like following the rule one, and she's like, I do what I want, and she wasn't raised that way, so to her it doesn't make sense. Like, I have to tell you where I'm going. Why would I do that? I can just pop there, and I'm there. I love the split between the point of views that you have here. It feels like the story moves on slightly more this way. I know it can't always work that way. I'm so excited for this week. Yeah, I think you miss a lot if it's just one person's point of view. I think even all the way back to Haley and Eric's story, like, you're just mad at him for the Claudia situation. Like, once you read his side, you're still mad at him, but you're like, okay, there were things going on that she didn't see from her side. And then, like, later, once she figured out that he was charmed, which she would have known if she wasn't so, if her fairy side hadn't been broken from being with Damon. But yeah, there are just things like they think that you wouldn't understand. Like with Chase and Lexi's story, I don't think you fully, like, because before we get into her book, in Emmeline's book, you're just mad at him because you're like, I know it's these two people, and you're just mad at him because he's just dumb. But then you hear his side, and it's like, okay, he made a bad choice, but it wasn't supposed to be the way it turned out. And I feel like without his side, you don't understand all the things that he was doing, fighting his own nature and his instincts for her, for Lexi. And same with, same with this book. Like, a lot of people didn't understand Alexander's actions, and now even Alexander himself is pretty upset with himself. And I think that's starting to come through because he's starting to see how much she has truly suffered. And he is upset with himself for not following his instincts because he was always taught to do that. And the only thing that kept him from that was the fact that people were so possessive of Melanie herself. And so there was a little part of him that was afraid that that was also what was going on with him. And he now greatly and deeply regrets that. When Haley's when Haley magics the Luna gowns and Ray's Secura, is it the same magic as Jared does with the shoes? Not exactly, no. I don't really know how to explain the difference. I'm going to try. So, as a royal, like, she can conjure things from her mind or like that she's seen on Pinterest, because we know about that now. Jared is using, when he magics people's shoes, he's using their stories. He's using, his feelings of their own magic and their personality in with his own, and his passion is shoes. So he makes people's shoes. I don't know if that makes sense. Let me know. That's how I see it in my head. But yeah, we're already starting to see some of the regret on people's sides about this situation. And Melanie's going to have her own regrets about the situation. What type of fairy is Jaredus? He's a sky fairy. Melanie's gonna have her own regrets, and she's gonna be mad at herself. And there's really only one person that can kind of talk to her about how she feels about all that. And obviously, it's Haley, because if there's going to be someone who understands, it's her. Because we've seen her kind of waffle on. She's like, I thought I was being so smart, not using my powers, but maybe I should have. And people tell her she wasn't wrong for what she did. But there's a lot that her and Melanie can relate to with each other. There's a lot of it Melanie doesn't admit she's upset with herself for a long time. Because she's got a lot of people to be angry at, if we're being honest. Got a lot of people to be angry at. And she's got a lot of hurt about stuff. And how many packs are there in Nashville? Are they all going to be talked about? No. But as of this moment, in my head, in Nashville, there are 30 in that area. So the Connors they're a pretty big pack, but that's because there are 5 alphas and they combine territory. The Daniels have 2. But a lot of the packs in Nashville are kind of like Alpha Tucker size, if that helps anybody in their mind's eye. Freya wanted to kick Claire's ass. Could she have shifted at that point, or was it a let me at her? It was a let me at her. She's not to the point where she can take over in Melanie's mind yet. Like, we've seen Odin take control in human form. Freya can't do that yet. But no, she can't shift yet. So I tried to explain this in the last chapter. I tried to have Freya explain it. So at 16, Melanie's body was like ready to accept a wolf. And her wolf was at full strength. But what happened was not what is typical. And she's been locked away for 4 years. And that did hurt. That did hurt Freya to be locked away. Because obviously there were certain situations where she tried to break through, and that even made her weaker. Breaking through those few times she did, and fighting the way that she did. So, and then they're just going through an adjustment, because it was supposed to happen 4 years prior. So they do have work to do to get to full strength, and to where they don't know if she can shift. Freya seems pretty positive she will, but nobody else knows if that's true or not. So it was more of a let me at her kind of thing. Whose territory was King Daemon's place in when he had Haley hostage? It borders Hammond and Tucker's pack. It's not exactly, it's kind of like on the outskirts of both. It's in that area, but it's not exactly in anyone's pack, because it's the vampire it's the vampire headquarters. So it's kind of in no man's land, but it's nearest those 2 people. Alexander's wolf is Odin, Eric's is Thor. Would it be likely that children of Mel and Alexander have wolves named for gods? Okay. Everyone seems to be forgetting that Eric's wolf's name was actually Duke. Way back in book 1, his wolf's name was Duke. It has always been Duke, but then Haley called him Thor and he changed his name. So, yeah. So cute, Mel not realizing she was dreaming of herself and Freya the White Wolf. We don't know that she is. There are suspicions, but she could just be having a dream. She could be dreaming of her wolf. She could not. We will find out. But their children could have wolves named after gods. We'll find out. When a wolf is a new wolf, like Rain, Odin, and Brutus, does that mean this is their first human, or that they were newly made by Selene? It can be either. Obviously, as we've seen, Melanie is Freya's first human, but Freya has been around for a long time. The Connors wolves, they were like a couple years old, basically, when they got chosen for the Connors. But they were created with the intent of being the Connors wolves because they were baby wolves. Normally, the wolves are like fully adults by the time they get somebody because they go to them at 16, so they're adults. But obviously, they didn't, when the triplets first shifted, they didn't shift into full-grown wolves. They were tiny baby wolves. So they're kind of different in that. How long of a time lapse is there between Alexander leaving Melanie and Kai being rescued and Kanan getting to him? How long were they apart? So there are, I don't know if it's a full, it's not quite 2 full days. Well, by the time I get there, it might be 2 full days. It's basically, there's one day where obviously we have the shooting to save Jason at the mall in Missouri with Theo and some people from Blue Moon. And then Kai gets kidnapped. And then obviously we know at some point between Kai getting kidnapped and Elise getting taken, Melanie gets injured again. And there is, in that, Melanie meets some people while she's unconscious and doesn't have nice things to say. So, since Azir claims the Connors children, did he have a say over in the wolves they were given? Yes, he did. I was thinking it was at most 48 hours, just wondering if I'm losing my mind. No, you're not. At most, it is 48 hours. Whether that turns out to be a full 48 hours, I don't know. Haven't really thought about it that much. It's basically there's and then it's Melanie loses some time. So, well, it's 2 days at most. So it's not very long. It's not as long as he was thinking it was going to be. So he's also not happy. So many unhappy people in that scene. So Mel wears her parents' wedding rings, but we never heard anything about Drake and Sam losing their rings. Are the ones she wears significant? They are significant, and they are obviously not Drake and Sam's because Drake and Sam have theirs. But they are significant. I thought I was losing my mind within 48 hours. At least it's not a week. Oh, no, it's not a week. Things fall apart so much quicker than a week. Guys, that chapter for Melanie is insane because you've got her and Xander separating, her and Sierra heading home, finding out what's going on and why Jason is being targeted in Missouri. Valentina obviously comes and helps because we get multiple places. So we've got all of that going on, and then she's running from them. So it's a supernatural mall. She's running from pretty much everyone there, including her brother and Alexander's brother and his cousins, because they're there and they're like, hey, we want to talk to her. And so she's running from like multiple groups of people there. So this is very stressful. And yeah. And see, that gets into murky things because how to say that doesn't necessarily mean that Alexander was constantly gone from the moment he left. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. So yeah, there's that, and then finding out about Kai, because obviously she knew about Kai before anybody else knew about Kai. So then there's the whole meeting her nephew thing, that she's wanted since he was born. And then he calls her Aunt Ladybug, and she kind of thinks, she's already thinking like maybe things can be different because she does have a wolf. And then she finds out because she thinks Jason is Kai's dad. And so when she finds out that he calls her Ladybug still, she really thinks that there is a chance for them. So there's a lot going on in Melanie's. And then obviously she got punished. And then, there are conversations with higher powers that happen. And then she's got to go save Elise. And then she's got to get Elise home and go to Yellow Hills and get out. And then, then she's got to fight for Sierra so that she can be with Phil. And obviously that's what leads into where they find her. So it's a lot going on. So much going on. So much going on. I'm looking forward to the fake Mel from New York being interrogated. Yes, because at the point where we left off in Caden's book, so much coming. So much is coming, guys. That chapter is just crazy. It might take me more time to get that chapter done. I'm not sure. We'll have to see how the outline points come together. But that one might be the chapter is not ready to post because it's so long. I don't know. We'll have to see how all that goes. If it's broken up in 2, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens when we get there. But so at that point, at the end of Caden's book, they have the fake Melanie and have joined the other group. So the fake Melanie is in custody. Okay. I think I'm caught up with the questions, and it is almost time for me to go mow the lawn. Yay! Okay. I will see if there are any final questions, and then I've got to get going. I really hate mowing the lawn, you guys. I'm sure that comes as a shock to all of you because I don't complain about it every time I have to do it. Every other week. Just in every other video. Just remember mowing season. I know. I'm so ready for fall. I'm like, can the grass just die? Hope you have a great week too, Shannon. Let's all hope. Here's the day off from the lawn. I took that off last Sunday. Technically, I should have done it last Sunday. Okay. Everybody, let's all cross our fingers that we're going to have a good week. We're going to have a good week. It's going to happen. So, don't forget. Oh, yeah. See, that's in my outline too. See, we have to save Ben and Nick too. There's so much that happens to her in 48 hours. See, I can't actually forget saving Ben and Nick because it's in the outline. But like when you listen to all of that, like everything that she does, it's just like, we got to throw in saving Ben and Nick after saving Elise. So you got to get to Yellow Hills, got to get to Ben and Nick. It's a girl. She's just constantly moving. And she saves Angela. That's also true. And that's really what gets her in the most trouble. So, because the other things, they don't technically know that she did. And actually, the only one they know about is Kai. The other things she did as the Resistance, and they don't know that she's in it. But yeah, the thing that is landing her in the most trouble is Angela. Because obviously that has been a goal of the Resistance for a long time, and she just blew it apart. So that's what's landed her in the most trouble. Oh, gosh. See, you guys understand, like, all that stuff. All that stuff. It's just like, bing, 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 bing. Very busy 48 hours for Melanie. She doesn't like to sit still. And in this chapter, I feel like in that chapter, not this chapter, the next one is Alexander's. But when we get to that chapter, I feel like it like highlights her personality, where she's like, just can't sit still, gotta go do all these things, save all these people, do all these things. That's what I do. So, yeah. So, okay. Now I gotta go mow the lawn. Okay. We will chat later. Crossing all my fingers. I am hopeful that at least 4 updates will get out this week. Might be ambitious of myself. if we get all 5, I might fall over. Ambitious goal is 4. We'll see about 5. We'll cross our fingers for 5. That's what we will do. All right. Talk to everyone later. Have a good week.